not, no. We've been on planes and on trains till we think we might die. Far from North America, where the buildings are old and you might have lots of mimes. I hate the feeling when you're looking at me that way, 'cause we're North Americans, but if we act all shy, it'll make it okay, it makes it go away. Oh, I don't know, oh, where to begin when we're North American, but in the end make the same mistakes all over again. Come on, North America! We are North America strong. We're from North America. And all the kids that wanna make a scene here in North America. When all your kids get to read it in your magazines, we don't have those. So where's the love? Where's the love? Where's the love? Where's the love? Where's the love tonight? But there's no love, man. There's no love, and the kids are uptight. So throw a party till the cops come in and bust it up. Let's go, North Americans. Oh, you were planning it. I didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry.
All right, welcome everyone to MCL round 4 matchup here between LG and Tempest. Sorry for the little delay there. We were just sorting out some issues with the server, but that's all been sorted out now. And we're gonna get the Champions Duel underway.
Yeah, I mean, it's the two biggest teams of NA. A lot of people pretty hype match. Definitely two of the oldest teams. This rivalry goes back to long before Mortown was ever. Going to be seeing Prince versus Wizardish. No surprise there in terms of who either team's put forward. Prince using his signature. Wizardish, interestingly, using what appears to be an Archer loadout. Missing twice with his cleaver.
What's going? I don't know what's going on here. Wizardish is using his bow.
I mean,
I think he's just memeing a little bit there. But,
yeah, I think perhaps not too
Prince
fast about
anyway.
side choice from Tempest.
Yeah, probably not. I don't think they care very much.
So, Legion have selected blue. Second time today, team has selected blue. I was told that's relatively unusual for what's been going on, particularly due to the red side advantage you have on. So perhaps another slight surprise there, perhaps representative of a larger shift in the meta. I suppose we'll see over the coming.
Okay, we're going to be starting with tourney first. No real advantage for either side here. Pretty symmetrical. Lots of tight fights. You don't really see. It's kind of harder to force duels and stuff on tourney than it is on some of the bigger maps. So
yeah, and your flanking options are a lot more limited unless you want to do some interesting strategies with the inside areas.
Yeah, and looks like we're going to see the same setup from Wizardish here.
Come on, Prince, you can do it. You can spawn in time, and he's.
Wizardish is going to be running the crossbow again. We saw him do that in the match against North.
I stand corrected. He is. Oh no, he has. Not the crossbow shield loadout I've been hearing so much about, but he does have a crossbow. And that's not the only projectile he's running. It's got a little burner bar on his side there to run.
Yep, and you got Rob as well on his classic 1-1-1 shield short spear.
I mean, it's just... I don't want to call it the raw boner loadout exactly, but at this point, it's become so iconic and associated with him, as far as
I have heard that it came originally from a Russian player, actually.
Yeah,
so,
the Russians were using shield, at least in Europe, long before any of the wider Europeans.
So LG's kind of just going to stay inside here because they don't want to get shot from the archer. Neither team is
looking for a flank, but backing out of that. Doesn't want anything to do with the amount of players that will be heading his way. Not completely backing up though. He's staying interested, closing the doors on. Just perhaps making him want to.
Tempest gets out the good fire pot there. The teams are finally going to engage. Very tight fights here in this close area.
So, how about the other?
Wizardish gets taken out by Prince Mac. Daddy picks up Whisper. Both teams trading picks early on. LG with the early advantage. Yang misses his target switch on the mall. He switches off, but Prince manages to take down Cyclone. Looking good for Tempest.
Boner just a wasp, just niggling at your side.
But Shugs, unfortunately, just going to be him left, and Legion should be able to take him out.
Yeah, Prince comes in behind him with the S. Prince getting 3 kills. Nice start for him. 3 assists coming in for Wall. Perhaps working together there. And
I think in those tight spaces.
Minus 100 score for Dash Shug.
Yeah, TK on Rob. I think in the tight spaces, a weapon like the S-Stock, Prince's favorite, is really effective.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a very underappreciated weapon, I think. Particularly with how much the meta is now evolving around stabs. I think it'll probably be something we start to see more and more, even if it doesn't become truly meta.
And Legion picks up 2 picks early on. They were able to push Wizardish out on the Archer, kill him early, and get another one as well, so they go into the engagement with a 4v3.
This is very different to what we saw earlier with Killer vs Inquisition. So much play in the inside areas rather than the outside. I'm quite surprised to see.
Yeah, we haven't really seen any MCL match be played exactly like this, but I think the fact that Tempest is using the Archer and LG is not, they're kind of trying to make up for that by taking the fight inside where it's more difficult for Wizardish to get shots off with his crossbow.
Could well be. Does get a shot off right as you say that though. Headshot as well. Switched over to his blast.
Tempest getting those really quick, yeah.
Go for a reload. He's sticking in the melee. I really like that by Wizardish actually. Not backing out to go for more shots because it means what he would have created with a knife with the kill he got, the numbers advantage would have been completely nullified for at least a brief period if he'd backed out to reload. So I really like him just sticking with the melee there, not putting away his bastard sword.
Yeah, he just goes into the engagement onto melee and just stabs a few people in the back, getting target switches off. LG needs to make sure that even though Wizardish isn't there at the beginning of the engagement, they still need to have someone keep an eye on him or else they'll all just get stabbed in the back.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, whatever they do with the inside stuff to try and negate the crossbow, he's still going to be Wizardish and melee, and he's still going to be one of the best players in North America. So even with the loadout he's using, he's not really someone you can very easily deal with in the melee. Although right as I say that, Whisper brings him down with a really nice flank there.
So not looking good for
the lower
LG,
damage on the bill hook not mattering so much when you're running an archer, like, not very much armor on. And Dash Sharks just BMs there. That was, he just lets go of his keyboard while the person in front of him dies in flesh wound, doesn't even bother to parry.
Tempest's doing a lot better now, I think, now that Wizardish is entering melee.
Yeah.
They're
I mean,
gonna spread out once again.
I do question how seriously you're taking it when you have Wizardish on your team and you think the best way to use him is to take the cross. I do question that.
That is true. Although he did put it to good use against North as well.
Oh really? So has that been a regular thing? I've been completely unaware of it.
It's been a regular thing as of last week that he's been trying out here. Yeah.
I mean, he's been landing the shots so far, so I can't knock it. It does seem unusual for Tempest.
He flesh wounds one and gets another hit there as well. Taking out
Tempest is two of the most veteran archers in NA though, in Anstey and skills. It does seem slightly Of course, neither of those players playing right this second. What would you say,
Rob getting two in that 1v3.
Yeah.
It's just him and Prince left. Prince eats an early stab, gets the stab feint. Oh, Rob is missing on his follow-up, just gets the kickoff. Prince almost out of stam here. Rob is just going to look to stam him out. Prince eating another stab, not looking good for him. He finally gets the stam out, and Rob wins a 1v3 with short spear shield.
I should never stop talking about the round while Rawbone is alive, man. I mean, I just thought that round's over. Nothing interesting to see here. They're going to kill the shield in the 1v3, and then Bono comes out, making me look foolish.
That was insane.
That was sublime play from Rawbone. You can't ask for more than that out of any. Relatively nice fire placement there by LG, but it's just thrown at a time where they have time to completely ignore it, so it ends up doing absolutely nothing. Boner's in flesh with it.
Yeah, looking quite good for Legion.
Legion. Not wanting to be overtaken by Tempest. Pulling it back to even here.
Yep.
Prince
3-3.
You can see why Prince was their champion when you look at the score. Tell you what I want to know looking at the scoreline there. Why was Boner not Tempest champion? I suppose then we would have missed out on the glorious default Archer duel.
Yeah. I think Tempest probably wasn't too concerned about the side anyway there, right? So
Interesting, Legion forcing a choke here when they've got a bill hook, a spear, and an S-dog. I wonder if that's part of the strategy which they've thought of for this match. I mean, Tempest dealing with it extremely well, but you've got to consider that an advantageous situation for Legion, especially when in addition to the spear, the bill hook, and the S-dog, you've also got his right-hander in there. And it's worked out for them. I mean, well, Bone is in a 3v1, so I don't want to speak too soon, but You gotta think Boner's not gonna do it again. You gotta think. Yeah. Flesh wound into the kick, 1-2 punch, and he's down. No more 1v3 for that round.
Yeah, Legion had some really great targets, but just once the fight finally broke into the interior of that area there, and they were able to get a few early kills. I think he picked up a few with the Executioner sword.
I really feel like the strategy there, it was a very nice idea, but the fire pots in particular made it too chaotic to properly force that choke in the way they'd want to. I think one of their players got caught forward by Tempest's fire pot, and the other players had to then aid him inside. Well, backing into his choke again, fire pot's going to completely cut it off, and no team's going to be engaging through there for at least a little. We'll see if they back off to another entrance or if they just wait that out. Looks like they're waiting it out at the moment, although the archer is going around to the side to look for the main gate. I think they should bring the archer over to this. If they can just force this fight to happen at this door, get the door damaged enough that the archer can easily shoot through it, they could cause some real problems for Legion. Especially as Boner seems to be stopping them from retreating through the side. He's around on the flank already with his shield. He's not going to be easily moved out of that position.
Wizards running straight through.
And finally we see the engage. Immediately a lot of damage put into Cyclone. Going back and forth here. Push backwards. Down to a 3v3, 2v3, 2v2. That's a 1v2 for Dash Shugs. Oh no, Boner was still alive. Oh no, it was from the flesh.
He was fleshed, yep.
Yeah, no, sorry. That went very slowly and then suddenly very quickly. I enjoyed that round.
4-4 here.
On the inside. Yeah.
Legion keeping pace with Tempest. No one I believe north.
In the 5v5 we did. That was a straight 3-0.
Yeah, I think it was 7-0, 7-0, 7-0, right?
I don't think it was, but it was very close to that because they were aiming for that.
Oh, Yi takes out Mac, then he jumps off with the Executioner sword and overheads him in the head.
And you just got Boner being the wasp he is with that loadout, just behind two people on Legion, shanking them in the back with that. I mean, on the one hand, it's Boner, and it's playing a loadout which he was one of the people to popularize, and I really like that about it. And on the other hand, it's light armor, short spear and shield, and I hate it. Wizardish is now on more of a standard support loadout. Perhaps feeling like the amount of gameplay taking place inside is limiting what he could do with a crossbow, or just wanting to go back to something which he's really known for and a lot more experience on.
Yeah, I think maybe it's a little too close for comfort here for Tempest, and they want to make sure they pull the win on this map, so they're going to have Wizards kind of play a more traditional role here. It's looking good for them early on. About 2 picks to 1 here for LG. Wizards is just going to get forced into a duel here with Whisper. He's going to get some help from Mac Daddy, Savage Whisper in the back, and looks quite good for Tempest. Only Yeet and Prince are up.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, as one-sided as the recent... Oh, and he's facing the wrong... Prince, man, you can't be asleep in the middle of a tournament map. That was not the way you wanted to see that stalemate end. Somebody opening a door when the other person's facing the other way. I don't know if he was role-playing or just thought he heard something on the other side, but yeah, that was... Prince has got to be kicking himself for that, no matter which way you slide. No reason to be doing that. 3 Tempest members going immediately out into the open does beg the question where the other 2 have gone. I suppose they're on the inside yet, and they're at one of the doors, Boner right at the front again. Nobody wanting to push into that. The Legion team sees him, they immediately go to the other door. They do not want to be pushing into that. Lined up on the top right now. I'm not sure if that's actually an advantageous position. I feel like if somebody runs below you right as you drop off, you might just lag by yourself for no reason and die.
And looks like Whisper's going to get around the backs of the Tempest members. He's able to take out Dash Shugs. He gets Mac Daddy as well. Whisper on that bill hook. 2v3 here though for Legion. Yang doing very nicely in the 1v2, getting a few parry-to-parries. Does get taken out by Rob.
You feel like it could have been an idea for Whisper to just drop down there, make that a 2v2 before he can get support from Wizardish on the spear. and that's a 7-4 win. And right as you said, that Tempest feeling a bit uncomfortable with how close it is, with Wizardish switching from melee. Just like earlier, we go from a 4v4 to a 7 in almost no time at all. Going to be going into map 2 now. Tempest leading 1-0.
See what happens on this map. There's not really any spaces to go inside and hide like Legion was doing there.
Yeah. This is actually, for competitive play, this is probably my favorite map. There's very little silly things you can do on this map unless you end up camping either side of the bridge or something like that.
Yeah, I think it works a lot better for 5v5 especially.
Yeah, I don't like contraband. I don't like all the malarkey you have with engaging through the pillars and that kind of stuff. Nice, clean open area.
Yep. The one
there's a map-
downside to this map,
Right.
you have a significant disadvantage actually for the red team because they have to go through the side.
Can they not? Which side do you mean? Do you mean the side with?
So they have to go
bridge
through
or the side?
either the hill or they have to go under the bridge. So they have to force themselves into a bit of a tunnel. If the blue team pushes up far, they can take advantage of that.
I've actually seen very, very little of that, so I'm slightly surprised to hear you say that. But yeah, I can see what you mean if they were to immediately rush forward to prevent blue team passing those.
Yeah, I think usually what you see in Europe is you have maybe 2 or 3 go around the hill and then 2 or 3 go under the bridge. But
Yeah,
usually
you do
NA likes
get
to
a
stick
lesser.
closer.
You get a lesser version of what happens on Contraband with the 3-2 split. Where on Contraband, you tend to have one group will go on the ammo box side of the pillar and the other group on the side of the pillar away from the lovely view you have on that map.
So I think we're just waiting on a fifth for Legion here. For Tempest.
Tempest making us do quite a lot of waiting today.
We're gonna go into slow motion here in just a second.
For once, it's not Prince who's loading in at 3 miles a second, or some equivalently unreasonable.
Yeah, so in NA, usually the teams will stick together as they line up to engage. So if everyone's sticking together and you go through the mountain, you have to kind of go into a little choke. And if you stick together and go through the bridge, you go into a little choke.
I mean, we might see something completely different here because we have both teams running an archer. We have Yang, I think that's actually a longbow he's running there, and then we have a crossbow coming in for Tempest, or at least they did a second ago. Yes, Wizardish running the crossbow setup again. Not taking much time to aim those shots, immediately reloads and fires. Backing up the hill. I wonder how much of a ranged skirmish we will see here before the melee begins.
Yang takes it, killing Wizardish.
Melee's already started on the side here. Yeah, and Wizardish immediately switching over to the melee, doesn't even wait to be engaged on himself. Sorry, Yang immediately switching into the melee. He just wants to press that numbers advantage because even though he gets the kill on the archer, if he's still staying back, as nice as it is to get the free damage, he's not causing any real outnumbered situations. But as soon as he gets that kill and that numbers advantage, he's immediately switching in. And you just got a 4v5, even though your fifth member might have a slightly gimped loadout for melee on account of the bow.
Cyclone was able to actually take out 3 LG members. It was kind of looking a little dangerous for them, but they were able to close it out there. And I think both teams are going to go up top this time.
Look at Boner, just flying across the map. He immediately runs into a 1v3. Oh no, he's flesh wound already. That was some questionable play from Boner. And then he tries to kill himself from the firepot, but somehow it does not damage him. Very interesting play there from Boner. Yang getting another kill with that dagger. And no miracle that time for Cyclone. Although I see what you mean about Cyclone doing work so far. I mean, he's got all of the kills for Tempest and has a positive scoreline to boot with being down 2 rounds to 0.
See, I don't think if you're Tempest you want to stick with the crossbow if you're going to get stuck into these archer duels. And they're not going to have a crossbow at all actually. Wizardish playing just a traditional frontliner. It's going to be a lot harder for Yang to get an early pick with no archer to go up against.
Yeah.
And Tempest is going to stay underneath.
Yeah, they do have Boner flanking around though, so perhaps just waiting for him to get to a favourable position. He does seem to be curiously have just ended up behind his own team, so that was rather ineffective.
Tempest doing well here regardless, Cyclone with that early kill.
Man, the amount of damage Cyclone just got down there. He was just left free rein to swing through multiple people twice. Just running around.
To make up for his lack of presence, Yang has to do tons of damage on that bow before the engagement begins, and
Oh yeah, for sure.
I
think he should do. Yeah, I think he should do what he was doing initially. Of as soon as he gets any kind of kill or even just potentially significant damage, just run straight into the melee. Don't wait to be engaged upon yourself. Just cause a numbers advantage. Oh, caught in the fire, and he goes down to really late reaction to that firepot from Wizardish. You feel like he did have time to start running immediately, but just didn't. I'm not sure how much damage they could well have been the full 50.
Yep, Legion's gonna go for the double pincer here, pushing around both sides of the rock. Yang's gonna keep on that bow, so it's a 4v4 fight here in melee.
And Prince caught in a 1v1 with the shield, and the shield was just able to freely switch on like that. Not a situation Yang wants to find himself in. Boner's now in a 2v1 though. All he has to do is delay and hope his teammate wins the 1v1. His teammate's got the advantage in the 1v1. If Boner doesn't die, Boner's... Oh no, he's down, and the teammate hasn't been able to close the 1. Boner and Cyclone had a real chance to win that 2v3 there, but unfortunately Cyclone was not quick enough despite the health advantage, and Boner couldn't survive the 2v1 for as long as he needed to. I mean, in fairness, he did run out of stamina, but yeah, very, very unfortunate for them there.
Yu was able to hold on in that 1v1 against...
Nice block on the arrow coming out of me.
Yep, Tempest is going to be really aggressive here. They're going to kind of push Legion into a bit of a choke here. Significant damage coming up from Cyclone on that greatsword.
Interestingly, Yang is elected to run a mace along with that shield.
Oh, Whisper's going to break his legs but survive there, going back. If you're Legion, you don't want to be too aggressive pushing up this like little pier area, but... And Tempest is going to make their way down the stairs.
Man, come on, Boner. It's another 1v3. You've made 1 out of 2 so far. Make it 2 out of 3.
He's got one of his opponents flushed.
It's down to a 1v2. That's half the battle.
Oh no, No! He was picking up weapons and Rob was able to stab him, but he's flushed now, it won't matter. Prince saved him. Oh my god.
You gotta have some cojones on you to go for a kick against somebody running a shield in tier 1. I mean, the risk of them just holding S and slapping you with that short spear and losing you another 1v3 is so high, but it pays off for him. I really feel like Legion, they really have to bang on the Archer dealing with Boner. I mean, that's the one severe disadvantage Boner has in this situation, is that the shield, you can't parry an arrow in any area like you can with a weapon if you get the timing right, as well as the very light armor he's running. And they're really struggling to deal with him in other situations other than him just being the last one alive and out. Although, as I say that, the rounds are very much in Legion's favour.
One v one here between Shugs and Prince. Prince gets off that early stab. Shugs misses the great sword slash. Reading the feints from Prince, able to get one more hit back. And Prince slams down that overhead into Shugs, takes him out. Legion up 5-1 on this map here. We've never seen Tempest put in a situation like this before.
I mean, Tempest may well have lost more rounds in this match today than they lost in the entire 5v5. They've lost 9 rounds, I believe, in total already this match. It's not the Tempest which we expect to see, although perhaps it's just Legion really pulling themselves together for this match.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think these guerrilla tactics from Legion are kind of putting off Tempest's game. Can't really get those straight-on melee fights that you want if you're Tempest.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, even though both teams are extremely old, this Legion roster is a lot younger than the Tempest roster, so you've got to think that the more chaotic split-up style is going to favour Legion, who don't have as much experience playing as a team as Tempest.
Looking very good there, though. I think Tempest was able to finally force the fight into that little area by the mountain into a straight up fight, and they were able to show their strength and their skill in melee and take it out pretty easily.
And Whisper and Prince just putting in the kills here. The scorelines are actually, given that Legion are very, very far ahead in the rounds, the scorelines are not as one-sided as I expect to see, but I suppose a lot of the individual fights we've seen have been very close.
Yeah, it's been a lot of 1v1s at the end, 2v1s at the end.
Oh man, that wall hit by Mac Caddy. Chasing Yang, tries to slap him with the halberd in the back, just clips. Oh, goes for the kick against the light armor. Yang holds S and brings him down. That Mace doing a lot of work for Yang, but I'm not sure it's going to do enough work to win him this 1v4. What do you think about the Mace in comparison to the other 4-point weapons, such as the Bastard Sword? I've hardly seen anyone use Mace in EU outside of Shelly, half as a joke.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Mace, it has a lot of damage on it, but usually you'd see like a Bastard Sword.
Yeah, no, Bastard Sword definitely I would rate higher, but I mean, he's making it work for him extremely. Slightly interesting way for this engagement to happen.
Yep, Legion's gonna go left this time. Roz poking and prodding there on the left side. He's got the backs of the Legion members. He gets off a stab. Tempest is gonna fall down into the fight. Wizardish in behind doing tons of damage, catches the double parry.
Duel going on the side, Spear versus Greatsword, Spear coming in.
4v3 there, Wall tries to switch, Wizardish is able to punish it in time. Yeah.
Tempest cleaning that up towards the end very, very quickly. I really like what Rawboner's doing here, where he's essentially flanking with the increased foot speed he has from the light armor to get Legion in a position where they don't want to turn their backs to him and potentially get hit in the back, which means they can't run away at the speed they would want to avoid the Tempest engage with their guerrilla stuff. Rawboner really shut it down that round and got them to engage before they got any serious utilization from Yang Gang's storm.
And Wall tried to kind of force that switch there, and Wizardish was just able to punish him, come into the fight, help his teammates out.
Oh, low help for Cyclone, and then just a bill hook from behind finishes him off. Wanted to back out and move. Rawboner takes a lot of damage from that step. Wall dealing really well with Boner so far, reading these beautifully, but the 1v2 brings him down almost immediately. 5-5, Tempest have tied it up. The big lead Legion had, just like in the first map, it's been taken away, and we're back to even Steve.
Yeah, Tempest has decided enough with the funny business here. They're gonna force those fights. Oh, Yang switches off Archer actually back onto the Maul.
They're playing like anime characters. They start to lose and they suddenly enter some kind of new power level. Just increase their skill.
See how Legion fares now. We got Yang on the Maul here instead of that Archer setup. Saw him do tons of work earlier in the MCL against Nameless on Contraband, especially.
And flesh wound for Whisper.
Yeah, but I don't think Yang was able to get any damage off there.
No,
Tempest doing well not to feed him, doing well not to keep their eyes off him and let Yang get those headshots with the Maul.
Yeah, I mean, they're using Boner to really create what I can only describe as pincer movements. I mean, look at the positioning of Boner right off the bat here. He's in a completely different place to Tempest. And while he is risking being shot by doing this, he's enabled to influence the paths in which Legion cannot take. If you actually zoom out quite far right now, you can see Boner is getting ready to essentially remove one of their paths of retreat as the other Tempest members come in to engage. This is meaning they can't stay in this kind of guerrilla style of fighting which they've been doing. Although, as I say that, he does strangely fall off the ledge right as he wants to engage.
Tempest with the Legion with a 5v4 here for a little bit while Rob comes in. Let's see if they can take advantage of it. Rob gets the kill on Yang though. Things are going to be even. Tempest getting more picks across the map. Yi doing very well in the 1v2. He's able to take out Cyclone, but he's going to go down, and Tempest is going to take the map.
That last round felt easy for Tempest. Once they had the numbers advantage, some of them looked like they'd stopped to start typing good rounds before it had even finished. They let their teammates clean up the rest of the Legion members. That was a clinic in that last round by them. Cut them off perfectly, got the engagement, won it solidly, didn't even bother to help out on the finishers. I feel like both of the last two maps we've seen, just the imagery they conjure up is just Raw Boner and his soft, soothing voice saying, you know, some kind of anime quote like, "You don't want to see me angry," or something like that. Just start losing, and then the immediate comeback and sweep.
Yep, so we're going to switch over here to Chicago server.
Okay.
As per Tempest's preference, agreement between Prince and Massey determined that they wanted to do the first two maps on Dallas and then the next map on Chicago.
That's very nice of them, given that the initial coin flip favored.
Okay, so players are filing in now.
Just need to get myself the password. So, map 3, Tempest coming in with a 2-0 lead. Currently on deathmatch, so we'll just be switching it out, and then we'll be getting into that. It'll be, if they win one more map, which is now on their favoured server, Tempest will be proceeding with a 3.
Yeah, Tempest yet to drop a map yet in either Venatus 5v5 recently or the MCL so far. And I think they'll feel pretty comfortable about the rest of the season if they're able to 3-0 LG, considering they already had to play North earlier this week. Okay, Contraband here. And see if I'm curious to see if we're going to see any archers from either team. Temp got to think, you know, you won't be able to see as many shenanigans here from LG. Might be just more vanilla style. Wizard are staying on that crossbow. Team's engaging here. Firepot takes out Wall early on. Not looking good for Legion here. Yeats in a 1v3. Gets off a few nice parries on the Executioner Sword. Gets it finally stabbed by Mac Daddy. Whisper in another 1v2 on the side of the map. His Flesh Wound's activated. He's going to go down as well. Very comfortable for Tempest so far.
And the Flesh Wound just brings him down slowly. Tempest not feeling at all pressure to rush him down. They're just allowing the Flesh Wound to do it.
And we're going to see
immediate hit there.
Archer v Archer once again. Yang and Wizardish.
Wizardish already switching into melee, or into his Firepot at least. Taking up the crossbow again for a final shot. Lands a headshot with it before he goes into melee. Very effective.
Takes the shot, throws the pot, gets into melee, and gets a few stabs off. All sorts of damage. All types.
I can't put it better than that. Very impressive play by Wizardish there. And, I mean, the scoreboard reflects that. 4 kills and 2...
To the front! Make haste!
Yep, and Yang unable to take out Wizardish.
Man,
Keep in mind...
look at Boner's head. Look how he's looking down to get his head as much as possible behind the shield. He's really aware of the potential of him getting hit by an arrow from range.
Keeping his head down right there. Wizardish actually did get hit once by Yang, but He still survived. Wizard starting that fire pod. It's going to be kind of inconsequential here. Actually, Dash Chugs, in fact, runs into it, and he gets fire potted by LG. LG sticking together here, looking a lot tighter formation here than Tempest, but no Tempest members fall. They just back up and regen. Yang able to get the shot off on Cyclone, killing him.
I mean, if Legion's going to engage, this has got to be the time they do it. It's a 5v3. I mean, I know they have the Archer advantage. And Bonus in Flesh Wound, leaving just one Tempest member remaining, and a clean sweep on that round there. Got to give some confidence back to Legion after losing the first two and being down 2 men.
Yep, Yang was able to do a lot of work there on the Archer.
Yeah, very well played by him. I mean, he's been, I would say, probably the standout player along with Prince for Legion so far.
I think Prince and Whisper have been very strong so far in the melee, and then you've had Yang doing lots of good stuff on the Archer there. He's gonna get a few shots off and enter melee. Gets forced out by Rob, killed quickly in that duel, but Whisper's able to support, take out one.
Prince got so much work done in that Flesh Wound there, just showing why that is such a competitive fight.
Whisper actually was in a 1v2.
He's got the health advantage here. He's very low himself, but...
Nice stab drive from Wall there around the shield. And yeah, so that was pretty interesting. Once Rob was flesh wounded, Wall just stood there to zone him out, and then the other LG member actually just ran away from the fight there completely to ensure that if Rob got the kill, they'd still win the round.
I mean, in that situation as a caster, you've got to pray to just see Boner win the fight and then throw the short spear into his...
Yeah, that would be amazing for sure. And Rob's gonna actually get hit by Yang with the Archer.
Legion really trying to draw out the initial range skirmishes. I mean, Tempest have switched over from their own Archer now, so it makes sense. But even before that, definitely the ones hanging back more. Boner comes in. This is not Boner's best flank this match so far at all. He arrives this fight very late. Very lucky that Wizardish got the immediate pick in that fight, otherwise he could well have cost his team that match. Well, that was a nice attempt by Prince to get that sidestab on Boner. But unfortunately, you need more than a good sidestab to win a 1v4. You need a deity on your side for... I'm slightly questioning the use of the longbow here. I feel like the big advantage of the longbow is for the range versus range. Team kill coming in for Tempest, but doesn't seem to be costing them around 4v1 again. And they're not having the slow start here, which they've had in the last 2 maps. They're coming in 4-2, you know, first 6 rounds. Not like the last ones where they've really had to come back with what can only be described as a reverse sweep after being down very heavily. I think at one point in the last map they might have even been down 5-1, and then the next minute it was 7-5 in their favour. Boner just 2v1ing Whisper with his team.
Prince trying to help out Yang here, does get flesh wounded.
2 click kills already for Tempest. Just hold S.
Tempest taking a very aggressive approach these last few engagements, and it's been working really well for them.
Yeah, they got no time for Yang.
Yep, no Archer here from LG as well. Whisper gets caught throwing the fire pot there, eats a couple hits. Oh, really bad start here to Legion from this engagement. No members down yet, but you can see across the map, lots of LG players one hit. Finally, they start falling. Prince goes down, Yeet goes down. Whisper's flesh wounded. Tempest is just going to mop up the rest here from the looks of it, and Yang misses the kick. Cyclone's able to punish.
Really nice play from Mac Daddy there. He was in a very uncomfortable position along the pillar briefly and didn't take a single bit of damage there, was able to get out amazing. Yang squaring up a little bit with his extra combo, takes a hit. Now caught in the 1v2. Again, Boner just 2v1ing the halberd with his team. Very little he can do there. I mean, perhaps he'd even want to go for a very quick grip switch in that situation, but that's the match. Another 3-0 for Tempest. You know, they did make us eat our words a bit with what we were saying at the start, how it didn't look like it was going to be another 3-0 like last time, but proved
Yep.
us wrong.
LG came pretty close on peak there, but you know, on contraband, that's where the fight kind of you can't really do too many shenanigans, and in those straight up melee fights, you really see the strengths of Tempest. But if you're LG, I think you got to be pretty proud with that match. They came closer to beating Tempest than any other team has so far in
Oh
in
yeah,
an official setting.
I'm sure the total amount of hours that Tempest roster has playing skirmish contraband is pretty
For sure. So some results from around the league as well. We had Team North beating Revival 3-0, and Spurg Esports beating Beasts of Burden 3-0 as well. It's
That's a
actually
name.
9:55. We've had quite a long match, so we're going to be getting going very shortly here with Nameless against Hydra. We're just going to cut the stream real quick to make sure the VODs are all separate, but this next match should be getting started here within probably 5 to 10 minutes, and I think we're going to have Yang in here to cast that as well. So we'll be seeing you guys very shortly. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Nathook, and I'm Oskoff. You want to say your closing remarks?
Thank you very much for having me. I've had a great time, and the matches have been very good. It's a privilege to cast, particularly Legion versus. I hope I'll see you all soon.